Yes, good evening to everyone who's out there. Welcome to the Unbox Studio. As you know, Unbox is a youth empowerment initiative which we have launched this year. This is from the group of professionals come together as a part of our social responsibility from the Learning and Development Global Team at Hyderabad under the aegis of the People Craft. Our aim is to help the students to be more confident, to be emotionally strong, to withstand and take care of stress and depression, and also to prevent suicides. Unbox means unbox performance, unbox potential, and unbox your passion. And that's what we are going to be discussing always. And we'll pick up different topics on Wednesdays and be here with you in the studio. Take your questions and also share our ideas. Welcome to everybody who's out there. Are you feeling excited? If you are excited today, just type excited in the chat box so that we know that we have a great, nice, wonderful, excited audience and who's going to participate, ask questions, and listen to us as well. So as you have seen, the life has gone for a toss, whatever life was existing in a particular format. And we are in a different form of living today. In a way, you can say that our life revolves around two boxes. The first box is, of course, our home, where we are continuously living for much more than what we used to do earlier. And the second box is this box, which is out here. And so if you have to do shopping, we go into this box. If you have to go to school, we go into this box. If you have to connect with people, we have to go into this box. So everything revolves around two boxes. One box is our home and second box is, of course, this little box. And because of which a lot of people are feeling boxed in and maybe claustrophobic also. And this has led to several challenges. So what we believe is let us pull in our ideas and unbox our ideas so that we can live better. Look at this particular event as a opportunity rather than a calamity, and see how best we can come out of it. And at the end of it, we should feel better, stronger, and ready to take on a different kind of a normal. And to discuss all this in our studio, we have Miss Sabina Meduri, who is a training professional by heart and soul. She's deeply into training with over 15 years of experience. She's done several certification courses. She is the director of the Learning and Development Global Hyderabad chapter, and also the director of Meduri Global. She's into life skills. She's into teaching English. She's into many things, everything related to training, and very, very passionate about training. So let me ask Sabina. Welcome, Sabina, with a big round of applause for you. Thank you for being here today and to share your ideas. So what is your association and what drives your association with the Unbox? Can you share that with us?
Sure. So the mission and the vision of Unbox was very close to my heart because of late I've been seeing a lot of youngsters, around my house and in my friend circle, going through a lot of adjustment issues and issues to do with adjustment with their friends or in the social gathering, etc. And there were also a spate of suicides of late, and that's the reason that it really stuck with me, and I kind of relate to that mission, and therefore I am here with Unbox.
Fantastic. We look forward to hearing some interesting thoughts from you. So what is the audience going to gain today? Can you just highlight a few aspects so that the audience knows what we are in for today?
Right. So, like you rightly said, Riaz, that all of us are in this for the first time. I mean, it's a very different kind of environment that we are in, and we are all figuring out ways to deal with this kind of confined living spaces. Confined means we're within closed walls, and we are living with each other 24/7. Some of us have not even stepped out of the house for so many months. Even if we do step out, the majority of the time is with the family members that we are with. This is something that a lot of people have had issues with, problems with when we speak to our friends, colleagues, etc. And it's come to light that a lot of people are also having issues with this. Initially, it was like the honeymoon periods; it was nice and good fun, and people cooking up great things and enjoying the family time. It was like a holiday, with the family. But as months passed, cracks are beginning to show up, and people are getting to see each other's faces for a little too much, and and they're in such a space right now that they could pull each other's hair. So yes, so this is something that we thought that we should discuss and have more perspectives, and people will have their own coping mechanisms that we would like to listen to, so that we have a menu that we can pick from and choose something that suits our situation and our space.
Fantastic. So if you see that prior to this whole thing coming up, a lot of people were saying, I wish we could stay for more time at home. I wish we could get more time at home, more peace. And suddenly we have a lot of peace and everyone is staying at home. And but yet, so they say that be careful of what you wish for because you may get it. But
Right,
nevertheless, our whole focus of today evening is not going to be on what are the problems, but we'll focus on solutions. So we
right,
look at the whole issue as an opportunity and not as an adversity. So what is the opportunities that lie in us? How we can live better as persons? How we can grow during this period? How we can take on this challenge? How we can grow better as a family, bond better as a family, make the best out of this period, so that once we pass this period and look back, we should say, okay, we have utilized this to the best we could and not just kept waiting for it to end. Is that
right.
fine, Bina?
Yes, yes, certainly. And here I'd like to quote that the way we need to look at things is we need to look at what is our circle of control. There are times that we feel that okay, we don't have control on certain things, but there are certain things that we think we have control on, so we need to focus on that aspect. Here I remember, I'm sure a lot of us would have watched the movie Kung Fu Panda, and we can relate to the quote that Master Oogway said. You know, yesterday, is history, and tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift, and therefore it's called the present. So the present time that we are in, or the today, is actually a gift. So we need to make the best of it and try and see what we can do which is within our control. We obviously can't control everything under the sun, but certain things that we can control in the confined living space and with the online schooling, the challenges that we're facing, etc. We'll try and see what kind of best ways that we can devise.
Fabulous. So let's start with the first issue. A lot of people are saying and do say that they're feeling stressed and anxious and uncertain. And it's quite obvious because nobody knows when the schools will start, or people looking for admissions to colleges. Students don't know whether there'll be exam, or there are so many issues related to schooling and jobs. So let's focus on the schooling, which is our primary area. So, how do students tackle this aspect of anxiety and uncertainty? What can they do to overcome this? Can you give some suggestions?
Right. So, see, there are two aspects to this. One is how do you keep yourself creatively occupied when you have these online classes, etc., and help you build your personality. And second is now online classes are here to stay, so we can't do much about it. But what we can do is look at things that we can do to make it, excel in your studies, etc. For example, if you look at, how do we enhance the schooling experience? The first one would be, try and learn from different aspects. So I've been speaking to a few children who were in the 10th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. And they feel that the best way to deal with the situation is to read around, to look for different alternate learning platforms. You can learn from anywhere because they feel that they're missing out on the peer learning, they're missing out on the attention the teacher would give in class, they're missing out on the questions that students might ask, etc. So the students felt that it's a good idea to learn from different platforms, experience what they're saying in case they're not able to understand what the teacher is telling you. That's the first point. The second point is when you are missing out on your peer learning, when you're missing out, discussing with your friend, okay, what did the teacher say? Iska kya hai? How do you solve this? I think parents should encourage, and even children, since this is a youth initiative, I'm sure children in the age group that you're addressing would already be comfortable with, the social media, etc. So I think they will need to create these self-help groups. You remember, Riaz, when we were kids, we used to run away from home sometimes, saying that we needed to study, group studies, etc. And that used to be at the safest place for us to discuss, studies, or also discuss our personal issues or anxieties, etc. So I think the second point that we need to focus and parents need to focus on is encourage these groups so that they can
Right,
go
right,
online groups if
right, right. Yeah,
possible.
we'll
Right,
come to a little more detail about the academics a little later. So the first part about this anxiety is, my take is that take one day at a time, and like there are a lot of conversations. When will this end? Right? When will this uncertainty end? The point is, don't look for it to end. Look at today, what we can do today. Give your best, do your best, hope for the best. That's what I'm doing. And that's what keeps me energized. I'm not thinking at all about when is this going to end. The second point is, we keep thinking, oh, it's been 3 months, it's been 4 months. Leave it. Where are those 4 months? We don't know where they are. They're gone somewhere. So let's say we are starting today. Okay, turn the meter down, like you have that taxi wala meter or auto wala meter. Just put it down and say, okay, we are starting today afresh. Okay,
right,
because if we keep thinking how much time has gone, how much time will it last, then we are in for trouble. The best way
right,
is take one day at a time. Okay, hope for the best, do your best, and see what how best you can utilize this opportunity this time, and that is how you can stay positive and charged. Right. So let's come on to the one more aspect of about our homes. See, like I said, that we are in two boxes. One box is, of course, our mobile box, and second box is our home. And a lot of people are feeling stuck up and not able to move out, especially maybe the students and families or people who are working from home. So, how do you people say that there are lots of crisscross happening in terms of space and time
right,
issues. So I believe
right.
you had composed some nice poem or written some nice words about the home. Can you
Right.
share that with us today?
Yeah, so I'd like to share on three aspects of this confined living that we're at. One is this physical space, that we're missing out on. There were times pre-lockdown that each one of us in the family had our space. Some of us used to go to work, so that was our physical space that we had. We had some time alone in the house. The children used to go for coaching, and or they used to go for play. So the mother had some physical space in the house. The father had some physical space. The children had some physical space. Now, like I said, the honeymoon period is over, and now we're like almost bumping into each other in the house with limited space. I think the physical space, the quiet time of having the entire house to myself, I think that is missing. So in one of my I one of those times when I was feeling quite claustrophobic with two children and all of that, I had quickly written down a few lines. Initially, I called it my lost home, but as time passed, I gave it a different name and I changed it to my new home. So that was when the shift happened, the mindset shift happened. So I'll just quickly read out a few lines. Um, I lost my home and did not know that. A home filled with laughter and cheer. A home where the body rested and so did the soul. A home where the mind knew it could relax and unwind. A home where inviting aromas would greet us on weekends and holidays. I now miss that home, even though I'm home. My home is not the same anymore. It's a whole new world now. My home is a buzzing office and a school, a social lounge and a bar, a full fledged gym and a dance class school too. It can double up as a jogging track and a cricket pitch too. My home knows no boundaries anymore, where a bedroom is a playroom, a study room is an office cabin, The dining table is not for relaxed family meals anymore, rather a makeshift school canteen and an office cafeteria. I once cried out, "Oh, invisible virus, give back my home." But now I shout out, "Oh, invisible virus, I embrace my new home."
Wow, that's amazing. I think you missed one part. The kitchen has become something like a Reliance store or something. Earlier, we used to have maybe one or two packets of rice. Now everyone is in kind of having you're told to stock up for 1 month, 2 months, and all that, right? So
Yeah.
we can also say that the home has become a
Yeah.
ration store as well as
I'm sure
supermarket.
a lot of our viewers would have a lot of other stories to share, maybe. I'm not the cooking kind, so I stuck to, the simple basic dal chawal and dahi chawal for at least 3 or 4 times a week, and the others would be special. But I'm sure a lot of our viewers would have a lot of interesting stories to share as well. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So, yeah,
So let's
so
focus
that's
on now this crammed up space which is happening. How do you resolve this, and do you have any ideas
Yeah,
to?
so what I tried, I'm sure, like I said, our viewers would have their own ideas and their own, ways of dealing with that kind of a thing. What I did was, because my mornings used to be very busy with chores. Even now, some of us don't have helps. So it's very busy with chores, with online classes, and with the buzzing phone. Sometimes you get the phone from workspace, you get phones from friends, or maybe your intercom is ringing and the security guard is trying to tell you that you've got a parcel of food there, or the vegetable vendor has come to your society and you need to get your veggies, or you're not going to get your veggies for the rest of the week. So it's constantly busy. So I used to miss that space where I had time for myself when my children would go to school. So one's a teenager and one's just about 6. So I still miss the space. So what I did was I devised a time. I looked at my family's schedule, and I devised a time where I could have the entire house to myself. So when I say entire house, they had to be sleeping. So it was either in the early hours or in the late hours. Most of the time, it's the early hours. So I ensure that I get up quite early and I have good solid 2 hours to myself, because my work involves a lot of creativity, and I can't be doing my creative work during the 10 to a 9 kind of a window. I could do the transactional tasks, but I couldn't obviously do the creative stuff. So I used to keep the creative stuff for the early morning time, or the night times sometimes. So that was
Okay, so
how I tackled the
what you're saying is basically the members within the family have to create some kind of space capsules and time capsules for each other, so that they don't step into each other's space, they don't disturb each other. So that way you are free to focus and concentrate, whether you are a student who are
Yes,
studying or you're a person who's preparing for the work, whatever. So which earlier was taken care automatically because there was a time and space division. But now since
correct.
that division has got lost, the family should sit down together and work out these issues and make sure that everyone gets their own time and space both, so that they can work, focus, study, relax, whatever they want to do, instead of everyone
Absolutely.
being together at all the time, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So within
And it
that
also
small
depends
table,
on the individual. Yes. It depends on how creatively you think. For me, that worked because I tried different things. And now it's kind of settled in, so I know what's going to work for me. So I've stuck to it. But I'm sure viewers would have other ideas. Yeah. So that's
right?
about
So
the physical space. Yeah.
so anything about the parental control in terms of a lot of students keep saying that the moment I pick a glass of water, the mummy or papa says, "Why aren't you studying?" And if he's drinking, they say, "Drink faster so that you can study faster." And he
Yeah.
gets up to relax. Okay, okay, you're stressed now. Sit down and study. So there's
Right.
a lot of issues about control, and people are not used to seeing each other so much during the
Yes.
day.
Yes. Yes.
Do you have something to say on that to the students or the parents? How do you deal with this?
Right.
Does your child also say, "Mom, stop troubling me," and all?
Right. So this is about the personal space that we need to give, each other, and we parents can get we can become control freaks. Sometimes children also can start controlling the parents in such that make this for me or make that for me, or they think it's their prerogative to just demand things from the parents. The parents are going to be dishing it out for them, and the parents think that it's their prerogative to monitor their children. So I remember this, the helicopter parenting that
Yeah.
I had read about before. So we need to move away from being the helicopter parenting, just trying to see what is the child doing, and give the child some space, because like we're in very different times. I mean, the child will feel quite stressed, and we need to have that empathy towards each other. That we need to
Right. Right.
understand each other.
Right.
That they need the
Right.
space, and the more
Right.
you
So
try holding on, they might just slip away.
right. So this is a great word you have used, empathy. The fact is, each of us need to realize that everyone is going through stress, whether it's a 5-year-old child or a 50-year-old or a 100-year-old person. So if you are a little more understanding of each other, and sometimes there might be some emotional outbursts of anger from
True,
somebody.
true.
So we need to be a little more empathetic. And the other part is, I feel that okay, so even when the your child was going to school, he was independent out there for 6 hours. He was away from the mommy and papa. So
Right.
he was living his life and he was doing a great job.
Absolutely,
So imagine
absolutely.
that he's not right under your nose for those 6 hours, even if he's at your home. That way, like we
Correct.
said, that give that space and time capsule. So that
Hmm.
way, you'll be better off rather than, like you said, helicopter parenting. Don't over the
Yeah.
children,
Yeah, and
right?
coming to, you just spoke about emotional outburst, right? So there, I'd like to say, we heard of this quote quite a lot: "Silence is golden," right? I'm
Yeah.
sure we've heard it so much.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think it's time that we kind of put that into practice. Silence is golden. So even though we notice a lot of things and we are like waiting to say something, I think we need just to hold ourselves for saying it. I think this goes both for the students who are watching this program and for the parents who are watching as well. Let's try and hold on to that. Let's just follow that silence is golden, because outbursts
Fantastic.
will happen. Outbursts from me as parents, from us as parents, and also from children will happen. But we need to empathize on that level, saying that it does happen. Let them vent it out. It's
Yeah.
okay, as
Yeah.
long as they come back. They shouldn't. It
Yes.
shouldn't be like a regular feature. There are
True.
times
True.
that you let out and do that. So that's perfectly all right, and that could also be an alarm for the parents or for the students. Am I losing out on sleep? Or am
Okay.
I losing on out on hydration and nutrition? Because there's a lot of studies that reveals that there's a correlation, between proper adequate sleep with irritability, or your outbursts, emotional outbursts. There is a correlation between sleep patterns as well to your mood swings. So we need
Right.
to keep
So
that
for
in.
that, yeah, before we go ahead, we have some interesting comment by one of our viewers. Indra, she says, space is something we should really give. They learn to become independent and confident. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I agree with you. This is important because this is what we are trying to create, isn't it? We want the kids, the children, whatever age they are, to become independent and confident. That's, I mean, two things we definitely every parent should want and would want. And the space creates that liberty creates that. And once we give them that liberty, I'm sure they'll make use of it. Is there any other question, any suggestion which our viewers have? Any question on this aspect of how to resolve this chaos at home, or the intersection of space and time at home, or people stepping on each other's toes? Have you faced these kind of situations? How you resolved it? If there's anyone who would like to ask a question, if you're feeling troubled by this boxed in living and something is stressing you out and you want to pose a question, you can please
Yeah,
pose that.
please do. So while you think about those, I'd also like to share that I just remembered a book that I'd come across, how to talk so kids can listen. And it's a very interesting book. And one point that really stuck to me is the volume at which you speak to your children. So if
Oh,
you speak at a very high volume, this is the book by Elaine Maslish and Adele Faber. So you can just Google it up, how to speak, so kids can listen. There are very many versions to it. How to speak so little kids can listen, how to speak so teens can listen, etc. So the volume is very important. So when we want the children to say do something, or we want them to listen to us, I think we need to ensure we control our volume there, because they see that, oh, the parents are shouting. They're always in that mode, shouting mode. Little do they realize that the intent of the parent is obviously not to shout, but for, disciplining the child, or for helping the child not to fall into trouble. But if you speak softly to the child is going to get a little unnerved. I'm using the child, but the young children, they'll get unnerved. If you go silently to the person and say, you know what, I think you better do this way. They really want to know what's happened to mama or what's happened to papa. So that's a trick that I employ with my children at times, and I can't employ it all the time because it doesn't work. I also went out, so I do have my outbursts, but I try it out when I have all the patience. So when I'm
okay,
adequately hydrated and fed, I am able to have the patience to speak to them.
right. So what you're saying is that because we are living at home all the time, and there is a tendency to have a lot of junk food and not sleep well. That is sleeping late with all the Netflix and Amazon Prime being freely beamed into our homes. Right. So sleep patterns do disturb. It creates crankiness. Right. So how many people are actually, let's do a dipstick check. How many people are really having healthy food? If you are having healthy food, especially focusing on it, right, healthy. If you are having too much of junk food, type in junk so that we get to know what exactly the audience out there is having. So let's see. Are you willing to commit? So are you having healthy food, right? Healthy. If you are having junk food, type junk.
And
Because
I
that's what
think,
really impacts our mood.
yeah, and I think it's okay to have junk food. Even I'm guilty of having junk
Is
food.
it?
Yeah, but I think we need to have some kind of. So, for example, I tend to eat early and I tend to have healthy food. I try and limit it, have that more often than the junk food. Maybe once a week, if I just want to have a noodles,
Healthy.
yeah, noodles. If I want to have maybe a Maggie noodles, I might just want to have that. But once in a while, it shouldn't be like
A
in
little bit of both.
continuous thing.
Suma
Yeah,
says little bit of both. Arya says healthy. Yes, we have very conscious audience, I think.
that's nice.
Yeah. Okay, nice. Thank you, Arya, for your answer. Thank you, Suma. Shilpi says home cooked food, I guess, is always healthy if through it counts in junks. If though it counts in junks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If
Home
you're
cooked.
making maybe a pav bhaji or bhel at home, even though it's under the junk category, I think it's healthier. Yes, it is definitely
Okay.
healthier. Yes,
Right. So
we can
great.
give into that those
Fine.
cravings.
If it is a mix of both, 80-20 is fine, but not the reverse.
Yes,
Because that also
right.
affects the mood. Yeah. And of
Absolutely.
course, children's mood. One point
Right.
I want to add here is the aspect of health and fitness. A lot of routines have got disturbed. People used to go for the gyms, yoga classes, walks outside, and suddenly because of this, restriction, they are not able to do exercise. But I still believe that we have our rooms, we have our terrace, we have a little bit of area, maybe in the apartments, around the periphery. Some roads are open, and at least 1 hour of walk. And when I say walk, it means intense. It's not that strolling with our mobile phone and going on a easy walk. So I would say, because and a lot of Fitbits and those kind of gadgets are there, and I know a lot of people who are doing even 20,000 steps in a day just by
Wow.
walking when they're watching TV, doing exercise when they're watching TV, walking when they're talking on phone. So let's check
Lovely.
up from the audience what they're doing. So just type in number of minutes of exercise that you're doing, and let's see what the people out there are doing. How many minutes of exercise are you doing every day? So when I say exercise, means when you're on your feet, walking, moving. Even if you are, let's say, doing cooking, let's count that since you're on your feet and moving about, you're doing exercise. What about you, Sabina?
Yeah, so I recently enrolled myself in a Zumba, Zumba class, online Zumba class. So the days that I don't do Zumba, I try and catch up on yoga. But I don't do it for very long. I just do a few Surya Namaskars. And the days I don't do yoga or Zumba, I try and walk on the terrace for some time. So something that I try and fit in a day, and that
Okay.
kind of keeps me going. Yeah.
Okay, so we have Suma who says through the day she's walking and doing some exercise. That's nice. And Samia says 1 hour, which is good for a 12th class student. That's nice. And Arya says 1 hour of intense exercise. That is great. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Rajni, for that. Walking per day, 6,000 steps. Fantastic. Every bit you do is going to help you, right? These are the things which we used to do naturally otherwise, but now we have to specifically take out time. And we have a lot of time. Okay. Right. Let's go on to our next topic, Sabina. That is,
Mm-hmm.
how do you creatively engage children? Now, the one of the many queries coming from the parents and discussion point was that what do we do with the kids and how do they spend their time, and maybe they're just playing games or doing something. How do you
Right.
look at this whole issue of students staying at home all the time and
Right.
parents getting flustered about this?
Right. So some students have also expressed that, like I mentioned earlier, they all feel so boxed. You know, they're not able to express because they are not able to spend time with their friends, etc. And they become very robotic. You know, most of the time they have this class, then that class, some coaching, etc. So it becomes very robotic. So they need those avenues, etc. So there's something that some children can, start getting engaged in some social causes. There's so many things that's happening in the city and around. You can engage yourself and maybe save the lakes or save the rivers or save the trees, or so many. Even in your society you have something like go green, etc. So if we're a part of such initiatives, it keeps us going, because when you have something like this that you're doing for society, etc., it's very fulfilling for the children. So even they kind of get those happy hormones
Right.
while doing these things, and they feel very satisfied. So that's something that they can do to keep themselves engaged. And a lot of parents have engaged their children, teaching them life skills. You know, in my home, for example, when I asked my son to go buy, some onions, he got the worst onions possible, and he didn't know how to pick onions. So I actually had to speak to him how to choose onions. So there are things that a lot of children don't know, and I'm sure if we didn't have this kind of an environment, I think he would continue to live the way he did till one fine day. Maybe his wife told him how to pick up onions, or maybe he would figure it out himself.
Right.
um,
Right. Yeah.
so people are engaging their children in household
Okay.
activities and all of that. So that's a second thing that they can do.
Okay. We have a comment from a viewer. She says, I jog while watching TV for 40 minutes in the evening. I walk on my terrace for half an hour. That's quite a lot. That's nice.
That's lovely.
That's nice.
So that
So,
reminds me. Sorry, Riaz,
yeah.
go ahead.
Okay. So, when we are talking about creative engagement of children or students, the important point is get them into the home activities. So, if you remember before this whole thing started, the job of a child was only to go to school, come back, study, and that's it. He is only about theta, gamma, beta. He doesn't know
Right.
potato, tomato. What is that? Okay, so
Right,
like you say,
right,
your
right,
son doesn't know what onion looks like, or when you send him to buy an onion, he doesn't know which are the good ones. So I
right.
remember that I was watching a show by Jamie Oliver. He goes to a school in the US, and he shows to the nursery kids a pile of vegetables in which there are tomatoes, potatoes, and most of the kids have not seen those vegetables at all. They cannot even recognize, because everything they know that
The cooked form.
yeah, the cooked form or the processed form. So tomato ketchup they know, but they don't know how a real live tomato looks
Oh
like.
my
So
goodness.
this is a great opportunity for parents to make the children to go through what is happening in the house, apart from the beta and theta, the tomato and potato also. Things
Right.
like cooking, and I know a lot of parents have sent me this suggestion and ideas.
Right.
One of them, she said that they're involving the children in their home activities and everything, whether it's gardening or cooking and everything. So instead
Right.
of the students being restricted to just, okay, just study, 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 go to school, study, go to school, study, they are also part of the household now. And it's a great life skill. Like you said, that it's not that after marriage somebody should know what is a
Yeah.
tur dal and a moong dal. So
Yeah.
let the kids know what is tur dal and moong dal right now, which
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Because yeah, exactly. I mean, you never know where kids might move out, or where they might want to settle down, so they need to know these life skills. I'm sure you would have seen those videos where sons who are locked up somewhere. I don't want to comment anything on the gender thing, but there was a video that was doing the rounds about a son being locked up in some house in some city during the early stages of corona, and he was crying saying, Ma, why didn't you teach me the life skills? I didn't know that this could be done. I didn't know that how rotis were made. You should have done this as well. And used to give me such hot garam garam stuff, and I miss
Right.
that. Yeah, so that's about it.
Right. So also, can the tasks be distributed at home for various things, which otherwise it was only the mommy or papa was doing it?
Yeah, I
Can
think
they,
it needs to be distributed, and depending on
the
you
age,
know
depending on the
the
age?
age, and
Yeah.
there's nothing. So there is a study that says when you try out new things, there are new connections that are made in your brain. The neural networks, the connections that are made, and it's very nice to learn a new skill. So there's no age to learn something, even if you've not. For example, I know a 60-year-old uncle who started learning the drums at the age of 60.
Wow.
So yeah, so anything, you can learn anything, so there's no age. So even a 5-year-old can learn some cooking, some aspects of it, or maybe cleaning the house or dusting or anything.
Very true.
Yeah,
Very true. I
like
agree with
that.
you. So let's take it as when we say life skills, why does it have to be only a teacher teaching life skills to the students since they are at home? The parents become teachers and teach them life skills and very, very important skills which are needed for anybody who's living independently.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right.
Because
We have some.
we as parents, we also need to model, because children look up to us and they model us. And another example that I can give in my home is my son picked up a broom one day and he started sweeping when my daughter made a mess, in the hall, and I was very surprised. So subconsciously, he has stored that information that there's nothing wrong in picking up a broom and sweeping,
Absolutely.
cleaning
That's
the house,
wonderful.
because he's seen his father doing it.
Right.
So there's a lot that goes in terms of role modeling, and in our corporate world we always use that phrase like set lead by example. So we need to
Lead the example.
lead by example. Yes, lead an example for our team members to follow. So the same thing can be translated in the home
That's fine.
environment as well.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we have some comments from our viewers. Let's take them one by one. This is Suma who says, my son is picking up these skills now. Wonderful. I suppose she's talking about the potato and tomatoes. And then we have Shilpi who says, do you suggest kids can go for video call with their friends once a while? What do you say about this?
Yes, I think it is required to have that connection, because you know what, there are times that we speak small little things. We discuss with our friends, and now we'll be like, "Acha, this is not a big deal, no, to call my friend and talk about this." Whereas when you're in your school, the bell rings, you have maybe 5 minutes before the next class, and you have a friend sitting there, so you might just share something quickly, you know. But now the kids hesitate. They feel doing a video call, doing a call to the friends is like it should be a big issue to share. It happens with us also, Riaz. Initially when we used to go to work, small little things, something happened while you were traveling or something you would share. Now we have an agenda. We don't talk without an agenda. We have an agenda. So these tiny little nuances of life and of sharing is missed. So you should encourage children to have these discussions,
Right.
etc.
Right,
But
right. So
that,
I'll just what I'll
yeah.
do is I'll just take a few questions which are kind of common. I'll show them first, and then we
Mhm.
can discuss them. Okay, let's me just completely one by one just show these questions. So one is that problem is their habituation to mobile, which is a little bothering. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
one
yeah.
we'll discuss. We'll come back to this. Rajnikant Shilpi, she says my son was asking me to teach him to sew with thread and needle. Absolutely, this is
Great.
absolutely much needed. Then I'll just take one or two more points. This is Samya says children should regularly talk to their friends to remain happy and sane in the lockdown. Happy and sane. That's such an important point. Helps them to
Absolutely.
overcome the stress of studies and coaching. I agree with you. And let me just scroll down a bit. We have Arya says new things, new possibilities. Absolutely. And we have Naresh who says children will be seen all the time with mobile. How can you avoid it? Right. So let's address this question about let's see the issue. The issue is that so far it was a clear guideline that the mobile time or the laptop time should be restricted for the students or children to a certain level. And even I believe the Steve Jobs used to say that my children don't get more than 1 hour to do on the iPad or iPhone.
Right,
But
right.
now the issue is different. They have to do their schooling on the mobile or laptop. They have to
Mm-hmm.
do their assignments, and we are also they are also maybe wanting to connect with people. How do you balance out all this and still say that okay, this is what they should be doing, and this much is too much or this much is too less? How do you balance this? Can you throw some light on this?
So you've heard of a lot of children these days. They also, and all of us actually, we all have this FOMO, right? The fear of missing out, right? And so I think we need to move away from FOMO to COMO, which is confident of missing out. Okay, so when we're confident of missing out, we get to do a lot of things. So on those lines, we could maybe plan day like how we plan a holiday. We all love to go to Goa, right? And with a lot of enthusiasm, we travel, etc. So we need to look forward to such events of having a no screen day, So have one day, maybe once a week or once in 2 weeks, have a day where there are no screens that are going to be used and start playing board games. There's so many board games available. You can play board games, etc. Initially, it will be very uncomfortable, like how you visit a new country, etc. You miss your mattress, you miss the pillow, you miss the washroom that you're used to when you're in a new hotel, etc. But then the second day onwards, you get used to it. So if you try this no screen day, like a detox day for the entire family to do different things, I think the second time you do it, I think you might start enjoying it, like how you always enjoyed going back to Goa. Yeah. So
Right. So whatever is necessary, like let's say school time when they have to be online is of course necessary. You cannot skip that. But other than that, definitely it can be regulated. Like you said, no screen day, or I could suggest no screen half day also, or maybe
okay.
you say 3 hours.
Yeah,
Somebody
whatever
may get
suits. Absolutely,
with
whatever
withdrawal
suits the
symptoms if
person.
you say whole day with no screen.
You
I
can
mean,
have
of course,
withdrawal symptoms.
yes, yeah, you
Yeah,
could try it out, but definitely the point is this period should not lead us to a addiction which we cannot give up later on. That is the whole issue. At some point this will end, and if we are completely addicted at the end of it, and then even when we are permitted to go out into the parks or the nature or for trekking or wherever, and then we say no, I prefer to play a game on my phone. That's when it becomes dangerous. So you have to really do this detox and test your willpower. And definitely I think the problem is what is the real problem with the social media. And this, of course, we are going to do a detailed session in the one of the coming weeks on how to detox and how to get away from the net addiction. And that's
yeah,
definitely everyone is
yeah.
looking forward, not just the
And
youngsters but even
yeah, and I think we
older.
need to have a particular time. The social media and screen time eats us. So we need to have a control on the time. If we have a control saying this is the time that we're going to spend on social media or on the screens, I think if we stick to that time, I think we'll be in control rather than the social media being in control.
That's a great point. So you're saying it's not that we should be controlling the
The screen
gadget.
time and
Gadget,
yeah,
the gadget should not be controlling us.
yes.
Great. So let's now move on to our last topic of the day, that is excelling in the academics. Now, a lot of students have posted to us that they are facing trouble in the how to in the connect with the teachers and how to cope up with the studies, different kind of studies. There is uncertainty yet. There is syllabus to be covered. It's coming in to us in a different form. sometimes the class room teaching is not clear. Maybe the technology is not there. Maybe the teacher himself or herself is not so well versed with technology. How do you look at this? What would you tell to the students or parents out there?
Right, right. I can see some comments. So before that, let me just share the comments. So Sangeeta says 8,000 to 9,000 steps she takes. Thank you, Sangeeta. That's fantastic. And I think Sangeeta says she eats mostly healthy, but once in a while junk food too, which is fine. So, like I said, have a look when you are getting irritable or when you're getting into the space of becoming very snappy at times. It's an alarm just to check and see, check on your nutrition levels and hydration levels, etc. And Polomi says that she will use the FOMO concept. Okay, thank you, Polomi. So then now let's move on to the COMO concept. And so, okay, that's happening. See, I also remember that movie, Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. I just came
Right.
flashing. I think one of the dialogues that Deepika, she says, there will always be something happening in the world. There will always be something happening in the world. And I think the protagonist was trying to say that I'm missing out on this, I'm missing out on that. But we need to remember that always be something happening and we will be missing out on something. So let's just be confident of missing out and be happy. And I can relate to last week's session that Suma said, you don't need external validation. You need to be very
True, true,
confident, have your
true, true.
self-esteem. So you don't need to be connected all the time. If
Right,
you're happy with what you're doing,
right,
you can stay away.
right.
So coming to your question on excelling in academics, like I had said, there are so many platforms that we can learn from. I know students who've got themselves enrolled in some coding kind of a workshop. I know students who've got enrolled themselves to data sciences kind of a workshop, blogging workshops, etc. And so on and so forth. So if you want to enhance the skill, I think this is a good time for skill enhancement because that helps you concentrate also in your studies and you're able to do well and excel in your studies because your mind is so connected. Learning an instrument is again very beautiful. Learning some instrument or some music, singing, etc. That also helps in your increasing your memory power. And the studies that show how this helps. But on the flip side, there are a lot of students who said that they feel under stress because each time they go onto the social media and they see somebody is doing some course or they learn going into some baking and they're putting pictures of baking, etc. And they feel stressed, like, oh my god, those children are doing so much during their lockdown. Even I have to catch up,
Yeah,
with
so it
even
would
I
be
have to do so much. Yeah,
probably the parents also maybe kind of doing that. Okay, your neighbor's son is learning guitar or he's learning
yes,
drums or something. So why don't you
absolutely,
do something? So I think it
absolutely,
should be everybody has his own journey. So it should be as per the aptitude and the likes of a person. That
right,
also needs
right,
to be taken care of.
yeah. Or you
The
don't want to
hobby,
do it,
yeah, the
correct.
hobby itself should not become the stress. The purpose of a hobby is to reduce the stress. So
Absolutely.
an additional new hobby itself should not become a stress point.
Right. And even if you're happy doing, not getting into those courses, if you're just happy doing your meditation or if you're happy just going for a walk or watching the beautiful sunset, why not? You can always post pictures and encourage people to also admire or, accept your way of life also. And they said, wow, that's a nice thing to do as well. It's not necessary you have to enroll yourself
True.
into the number of courses. But yeah, doing something like this also enhances your memory power to excel in all your schooling and
Absolutely true.
academics.
Absolutely true.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So,
and like I said,
yeah. Okay. So this
yeah,
point about the the kind of a connection break or not having the proper bandwidth between the teacher and the student. Now, this is a live problem. It could be because school, the technology at school, or technology at home, or the device at home. Now, my take on this is that so far the students have been totally dependent on the teacher and the school for transfer of knowledge, which was
right,
fine because it was a regular stream. Now that stream has broken, I think there is a very, very important point for the students to really think, or the parents to think, how else can we get the same kind of education or the syllabus or the content from different forms? So rather than a student being waiting for the lesson to come to him, he can be a little more proactive in trying to get that from different sources which are available. There are free courses, it's on YouTube, there are
absolutely,
different channels, learning channels, and 90% of that, a lot of free content is available. So wherever
Yeah.
there is a gap, that gap can be covered. I think one way is by reaching out and getting that, and not blaming the school, because I mean ultimately, there's so many problems at school level also. I mean,
Yeah, I
when I say
mean, we
problem,
need
means
to
no,
empathize
people
and
are helpless.
appreciate. Yes,
Yeah,
appreciate the fact that everybody is learning. It everything is new. Everybody is learning. Everybody's trying to do the
yes,
best that they can at the moment. So, like I said, this peer groups can help to discuss a solution or a problem. You can go online, reach out to the seniors. There are a lot of children who research online, and there are a lot of free YouTube channels, etc., where you can learn a lot of topics if you're not understood during the class. And if you're an introvert, again, that could also be a problem. So you can have these groups to encourage, speaking to your friends, etc. So yeah,
I
that
remember.
helps.
I remember when we were in the school, we used to, like, I was not very good in maths, so there were people who were the maths with kids. So we used to create that group. There were two, three people who were coaching the people who are not so good in maths, and they used to take. It was within the students itself. So I think we can do something like
Right,
that within the
right.
group of students, within the group of friends, whom
Yeah,
they trust,
and
of
we
course.
need to have a circle of trust. You know,
Yeah. Yes. Go
right?
ahead.
We need to have the circle of trust. Okay,
Yes. Yes. I
so
can hear
in the
you.
circle of trust, you could have somebody in that circle. Yeah, somebody in the circle, like maybe if you have any questions in terms of academics, or you have questions in terms of your career, maybe you finished your 12th and you're looking for other opportunities, aspects. So have a circle of trust where you have people you can reach out to. You might have relationship issues, etc. So somebody you can reach out to. Your initiative, Unbox also is in touch with so many people who are professionals, so they can even reach out to say that they're looking for professional help in a certain aspect, and then we can always reach out to them and give them the kind of help that they require. So having the circle of trust, whether it's to do with career, academics, or personal relationships, whatever, can really be helpful.
Right. So we have a question from one of our viewers. He says the badly affected are the persons with disabilities, and they find online classes difficult to grasp and don't get proper transcripts and a top educator. What solutions can be given to bring these gems back to the race?
Very, very interesting, Arya. See, it all depends if the persons, if the gems want to come back to the race. So that's going to be a different topic, and it might take time to discuss on that. But yes, if the person wants to come back to the race, I think now things have changed to such an extent that people are not interested in the race game anymore. I mean, things are changing, mindsets are changing. I know a lot of parents who are like, it doesn't matter what percentage they've got. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't
Yeah,
matter because they will
race
reach a
probably he
goal.
means. Yeah, I think race probably just means that how to get back into the mainstream.
Track.
That's what he means.
Yeah, yeah. So, in case the person really wants to do that, I think reaching out to seniors for help, that could also help. And maybe reaching out to the teacher. I'm sure the teachers are not going to say that, why are you sending me a message individually.
Right.
If you don't understand something, I have spoken to the teachers of my children, and they were pretty welcoming when I had spoken to them. So you can speak to them, get their guidance, speak to
Yes.
your peers, speak to your seniors. Like Riaz, you've mentioned, you can go online, do a lot of research. Or if you find that your friend is missing out on that, why not? Why can't you extend a helping hand, and you can just check
Right.
with the person? Would you like to come on board? I'm having this group. Create a group and say I'm having this group discussion group, and invite that person and slowly get him back to track, if that's what you've meant. Yeah.
Yes. So let's reiterate this point that if you are a student, and if you're feeling that you're not able to get the lesson properly, or if there are some gaps, or you're not able to understand certain aspects, then firstly, it's okay, because every student cannot understand everything. The times are tough. So accept that there is some gap. Be ready to say that maybe to your teacher. Make a list of things which you're not able to understand, or if you can't speak to your teacher, speak to your parent. But don't keep it within yourself that, okay, I'm not able to understand, let me leave it, kal ho jayega. We don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. We don't know how long this is going to continue. Maybe you will not get time to get back to this lesson. So if there is, where are the gaps are there, please make a list of it, put it up to your teacher, to your parent, tell somebody, or tell your friend, I'm not able to understand. The best thing is to share your problems and look for a solution, and the solution will be there. But the only thing
Yeah,
is, don't keep it to yourself, because that is what is going to cause stress, and then it keeps building up, building up. Oh, I'm not able to understand. Then there will be, suddenly there will be some test somewhere in
yeah,
maybe October or sometime, and then you get lag behind. You don't know what to do. So it's best to keep up whatever you're not able to understand. Please reach out to someone, the teacher, the parent, and you have the right to. You're a student. There's no
right.
shame in saying that I didn't understand. There's so many things I don't understand even now. But it's best
Right.
to reach out and ask
And in these
for help.
circumstances, I think it's even more important that we have that, circle of trust. So, in case you have some
Yes,
questions on academics, you can reach out to anybody. Think of a mama or somebody who's an expert in that subject. You can always
yes,
reach out to. Yeah.
absolutely. So, as we are coming to the end of our program, we have a number of viewers. So, let's ask if they have any questions. Viewers who are out there, any questions or any bright ideas you would like to share, any best practices you would like to share, or any experience you would like to share, please feel free to share or ask, so that whatever is there in your mind can be put across to everyone who's watching it. And there will be recorded version of this also. You can always watch it later on also. Yeah, we are waiting for the listeners' comments or questions. Some questions we have already tried to answer. But the main thing is, I think, reaching out for help. If you have a problem, seek help. Don't be shy. Don't bottle up emotions. Don't keep them within you. Share. And if someone is a bright student, I think they also can themselves reach out, find out who are the weaklings or weak student of the class. Reach out to them and say, "Do you need help?
Yeah, that
Won't
can
that be
also
good?"
Right. That can also tie in, like I mentioned, if you can encourage your children to be a part of some social causes, etc. I think this is also something else that students can voluntarily do. If somebody's good in studies, I know Arya and Aryan, they're very good in studies. So I'm sure these kids would want to, help their colleagues. And I'm sure they also do that, if I'm not wrong, Arya.
We
Right.
don't seem to have any questions from the audience.
Okay.
Right. So as a parting note, would you like to give any special tips to our viewers today, which they can carry home, apart from whatever you have given? You have done a number of interesting, tips you shared.
Right.
Anything you would like to?
Right. So, like I said, we are all grappling with this situation. This is all new for all of us, and we're devising new ways and methods to, handle and manage this. What's worked for me personally, there are these three things that I would, like to share. One is count your blessings. So every morning when you get up, you can just count that you're safe, your family is safe, or thank you for the food or whatever. So you need to count your blessings, because it's not a very to be honest, it's not a very nice place and time to be in. When you open the newspaper or when you're listening to the news, a lot of things happening around us which can get a little depressing at times. So we need to count up your blessings. So that's the first thing
Okay,
that.
okay. I have a point there. When you say count your blessings, uh, let me ask you, which is the safest place on the earth right now?
Our new home.
Our home. Absolutely. The safest place on the earth right now is our home. And where are we right now?
At home.
We are at home. So that's
Right.
the best blessing, I think. So at
Yes.
home means we are safe.
Right.
That itself is a great blessing. So we have a
Right.
home. That is one blessing, number one. And we
Yeah.
are at home. That is the
Right.
number second blessing. So I have counted two for you.
Right, right. So yeah, so this is something that I do. I count my blessings. Then the second one I do is the hug therapy. There's a lot of research also that goes that says that it elevates your mood, and it kinds of releases a lot of good hormones, etc., dopamine, etc. So you need to hug somebody, a family member. Even if there's nobody living with you, maybe you can give a virtual hug to somebody via WhatsApp or messages, or some good thought to somebody.
Right.
So hug therapy, like the movie, the famous movie Munna Bhai,
Munna Bhai,
Jadoo.
Munna Bhai. Jadoo Ki
Yeah,
Chappi.
Jadoo Ki Chappi.
So, not with the people outside because you're not supposed to touch anyone, but within your home,
Yeah,
definitely.
actually,
And
yeah,
the power of words, a positive word itself
comforting words. Yes,
is a
yes,
hug. Yeah.
yeah,
So we
yeah.
have
So
some.
that's
Before
second.
I come to your before I come to your third mantra, let me see. We have some nice viewer comments. This is Arya saying, "Power to change the world is not with you; it is within you." Very interesting. And
Absolutely.
Rajnikant has said, "Home is the safest place." And Naresh says, "Nice words from Sabina and wonderful live show." And Indra says, "Thank you, Mr. Riaz and Sabina, a lovely session." Okay, so what is the third mantra?
The third mantra is the green therapy. So when when I say green therapy, again, there's a lot of study that shows that anything that you see green, or that's why people go for long drives and holidays, right? Why else do we do that?
Yeah,
That's
I remember.
that's because green has a very soothing and a calming effect on the human mind, and it calms you down. So
So
I'm not
that's why I
saying that.
love monsoons.
Okay, yes, it's very nice
It
and
makes
green.
everything
You can
green.
step out in the balcony. You can just, if you have a garden, maybe you can just walk around in the garden, or you can just have one pot. Even a pot at your table is going to be quite a mood uplifter. At least for me, it works. I'm sure our viewers would have other therapies that they swear by, but for me, I think these
Let's
three
ask them
things
what are your therapies you are using to de-stress? Let's ask our viewers. So Sabina has shared three. Uh, One is I remember the gratitude therapy, count your
yes,
blessings.
yes,
Second is the hug therapy, do something nice, say something nice. And third is the green therapy, which Arya also agrees that my favorite color is green. So let's have the users telling us what is their one mantra which they are doing to stay sane, stay
same.
happy, stay stress free, uh, live happy. Green therapy, I agree. Yes. So Rajnikant says green therapy. I agree with you, Sabina. I do when I feel irritated. It really works. Absolutely, I agree. It really
Yeah,
works.
yeah,
I agree because I have some nice plants and trees outside my home. Every day in the morning, I go out, touch them, look at them, and
right.
green is really soothing. There is something magical about green. We need
Absolutely.
to do that more often.
Right. And if you look at the therapies that I've suggested, and also some suggestions through the session that I've suggested, they touch upon all the four angles, Riaz, if you've noticed. They touch upon us being emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually, quite balanced. Because
Right.
unless we have these four elements in our lives balanced, we wouldn't be sitting here talking with a smile. We would,
Fantastic.
yeah, we would have gone,
Fantastic.
insane by now. So yeah,
Fantastic. And Samya says, paint and write your hearts out. Absolutely. Painting
absolutely.
is a great way to relieve stress because that's your own creation and write your hearts out. Absolutely. Then we have one more suggestion, sit quietly and listening to the nature, like chirping of birds. Wow. We do this
Very
all the time. And we are fortunate here, I feel, in Hyderabad or different towns and cities, wherever you are. Listening to the bird sounds, I think, I'm not talking about the Twitter on the mobile. The real live tweets of nature is, I think, what really suits and
absolutely,
helps us.
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, we have one more. I feel sitting with my grandparents quite relaxing because they know everything. Where Google doesn't have an idea. Yeah, grandparents are more wiser than Google
Yeah,
definitely,
yeah, it's
and
very
they'll give you
therapeutic
filtered information. They'll also feel happy that you're around them,
spending time
and
with them. Absolutely.
and they won't scold you if you eat chocolate also. So that's the good thing about grandparents.
Yeah, yeah, and it's true. Like spending time with our grandparents is very therapeutic for the young children, and for the grandparents or for the parents, spending time with toddlers is also very therapeutic. So it works both ways.
Okay. So I think we have shared a lot of interesting thoughts, and we've got a wonderful, inputs from our audience also. Just a few points before we close. Please visit our page, Unbox YEIHYD, on the Facebook, wherever you're watching this live, and like our page. Post your comments about what you liked about this program, and also share what all topics would you like us to cover. We have a lot of topics to cover. We are going to get a lot of experts, but please share your thoughts about what you feel are the topics we need to cover, and definitely we will cover them so that we make it more and more relevant to you. And for all the students or anybody who's out there, if you're feeling stressed, distressed, worried, please speak to someone. Please write something. Please share with somebody whom you trust. Don't let it bottle in your mind, because anything which is kept in your mind keeps festering, and there at a later stage it can create problems for you. So if you feel stressed, talk to someone and relieve the stress. Find a way to let it out, and that way you feel less stress free and happier.
Even if
And
it means having an outburst.
yeah,
You just need
that's
to.
okay. That's okay. Till the time you don't punch somebody,
Absolutely, yeah.
it's absolutely fine, I think. And Arya says that the session was so inspiring and motivating. I'm so happy to say that. I always say that I derive my energy from the people who are watching or connecting to us. So the energy transfer is mutual. And here he says that a session on patience and self control will really be helpful. Okay. Yeah, we need to find someone who's very patient and good self control, who can throw some light and take a session. Definitely, we'll do that, Arya. Thank you for your suggestion. Anything else you would like to add, Sabina, before we close?
No, I think I wish everybody all the best, and do share your points of view. We are here to hear your perspectives as well. These are our perspectives, Riaz and my perspectives on overcoming the issues of confined living and online schooling. And these are perspectives that's shared between two of us, and also our friends and family who've shared, put in their inputs. But we would be happy for you to also share, so that we'll have a good menu of things and suggestions, so that people who are actually struggling with these issues can take a leaf or two from
Yes,
these points
yes.
and try it out in their life. Yeah,
Yeah, as we've been discussing, our aim is not to say that do this, do that. We are just
exactly.
sharing our thoughts and starting a conversation so that
Absolutely.
everyone realizes that it's an important point. They may not be even connecting us directly here, but the point is it's a point for conversation, a point for discussion,
Yes,
and to think about, so that once we start talking about it, we'll come to some solutions
absolutely.
and be
Absolutely.
stress
The
free.
more
That's what our aim is.
conversations we have, the more conversations we have around us, the more it'll help the youngsters, because the Unbox initiative is to help empower the youth. And
Yes.
the youth can't just get empowered all by themselves if we don't have the support of our teachers and parents as well, because it's a very, it's a holistic kind of an environment that we need to have. So, yes, keep the conversations going and do share with us your
Keep the
thoughts.
conversations going, keep talking, keep sharing, be healthy, be happy, be confident wherever you are. And if you're in trouble, talk to someone.
Yes,
Otherwise, look forward to having a great year ahead. Take one day at a time, make the best of it, give it your best, and hope for the best. And with that,
absolutely.
we come to the end of.
And remember Ugwe's phrase,
Yeah, can you
Master
repeat that?
Ugwe's. Yeah, Master
Master always.
Ugwe's phrase, Kung Fu Panda says, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. Therefore, live in the
That,
present. Yeah,
that's why
that's
it's
why
called
it's
the present.
present. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you,
Good
everyone.
night. Thank you for being here. And now we are going to close this session. I love whatever you have shared with us. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.